Marcus's mop scraped the corridor floor, a hollow echo in the empty hospital wing. Lights flickered overhead, casting shadows that twisted against the walls. He wiped his brow and leaned on the mop, taking a short breath, but then a sound made him freeze. A soft, pained wail. It didn't sound human. It was thin, weak, almost like glass breaking. He followed the sound to a side door, marked with blinking red quarantine lights. Alien nurses backed away from the threshold, murmuring in a strange, hissing language. They pointed and whispered urgently, eyes wide with fear. On the other side, Marcus saw it, a small figure curled up in a glowing cot, skin pulsing faintly in colors he had never seen. The child's eyes were wide, shimmering like liquid silver, staring at him with both hope and terror. Marcus felt a rush of something fierce and strange. Fear flinched in his chest, but it didn't stop him. He straightened, set the mop down, and stepped forward. "It's okay. I'm here," he said in a low, steady voice. The aliens recoiled, hissing louder, waving him back. "Don't touch it," one shrieked. Marcus ignored them. He knelt beside the cot, careful not to rush. The child shivered violently, tiny claws curling around the edge of the cot. Marcus held out a hand. "Hey, you're safe. I won't hurt you." The child hesitated, then slowly reached out. When their fingers touched, a soft light pulsed from the child's skin and danced across Marcus's hand. The corridor seemed to hold its breath. The nurses stepped back, whispering in panic. Marcus realized the child's body reacted to touch in a way he didn't understand. The glow dimmed slightly when he spoke, almost as if it was listening. Suddenly, an alarm blared. Marcus turned just in time to see an alien security officer storming toward them, energy baton raised. "Step back. Contamination hazard." Marcus's heart hammered. He had a choice: run, leave the child, save himself, or defy fear and stay. He knelt lower and whispered again, "I've got you. No one will hurt you while I'm here." The child made a small sound, almost a whimper, but then, faintly, a chirp that sounded like, "Papa?" Marcus froze. His chest tightened. Did he hear that right? The child's glowing eyes focused on him, not in fear but recognition. His mind raced. What was this creature and why did it reach for him? He had no idea, but instinct told him one thing. This child depended on him now. The officer shouted again, moving faster, but Marcus didn't flinch. He scooped the child into his arms. The moment he lifted it, the child's body brightened, radiating a strange warmth that seemed to pulse into Marcus's chest. Alien eyes widened in shock, mouths opening in disbelief. It wasn't just a sick child. Whatever this was, it had power they didn't understand. The alarm grew louder. Red lights flashed, casting every wall in blood-colored streaks. Marcus darted down the corridor, holding the child close. The nurse's terrified whispers followed him. He could hear shouts over the alarms, metallic footsteps pounding behind him. Every instinct screamed danger, but he didn't stop. Through a narrow maintenance hatch, he squeezed, ducking under exposed pipes. The child's glow pulsed with each step, almost guiding him. Marcus realized the light was more than illumination. It reacted to his determination, to his courage. He didn't understand why, but he knew it mattered. A sudden hiss made him spin around. A small alien drone hovered in the air, weapons aimed. Its sensors locked on the child, scanning. Marcus held the child tighter. "You won't touch him," he said firmly. The drone hesitated, whirring. The glow from the child flared brighter, and the drone's sensors scrambled for a moment before retreating slightly. Marcus exhaled sharply, feeling the weight of the child's trust. He had no plan beyond keeping the child safe, yet somehow that trust was enough to change the rules around them. He ducked into a side tunnel, shadows swallowing them, and for the first time he allowed himself a thought. "I can do this. I have to." As he ran, he noticed faint symbols glowing on the walls of the tunnel, alien markings that seemed to respond to the child's light. Marcus didn't understand them, but they pulsed faster as he moved. Questions rushed through his mind. What is this child? Why is it glowing? And why does it seem connected to me? Behind him, the sounds of pursuit grew louder. Aliens shouting, drones scanning, alarms screaming. Ahead, the tunnel twisted sharply, dark and uncertain. The child whimpered, and Marcus felt its tiny heart beating against his chest. Then, without warning, a shadow shifted in the tunnel ahead, larger than the security drones, moving fast, silent, and dangerous. Marcus froze, his mind racing. The child's glow flared violently, illuminating a shape that made his stomach tighten in fear. Something waited in the shadows, something alive and hungry, drawn to them. Marcus tightened his grip, whispering, "We're going to be okay. Just trust me." The air felt electric, the glow from the child painting the walls in moving colors. He realized this was only the beginning and whatever was coming next would test him, and the child, like nothing else ever could. The shadow lunged. Marcus's lungs burned as he sprinted down the twisting maintenance tunnel, the alien child clutched tightly against his chest. Its glow pulsed faster, reacting to every heartbeat, every desperate movement. Behind him, the echo of alien footsteps and shrill alarms grew louder, a cacophony of warning and danger. Marcus had no weapons, no reinforcements, just himself and the fragile, glowing child in his arms. The tunnel forked sharply ahead. He chose the left path, hoping the dim light and shadows would conceal him. The walls hummed faintly with energy, symbols flickering as the child passed. Marcus noticed that every time the child's glow brightened, the symbols seemed to respond, almost as if alive. Curiosity sparked in him even as adrenaline pumped through his veins. What is this child capable of? Why does it react to me? A sudden alarm drone swooped down the corridor from above, its scanner lights slicing through the darkness. Marcus ducked instinctively, pressed the child against him and crawled through a low hatch in the wall. The drone hovered briefly, its sensors flickering wildly before retreating. The child chirped softly, almost as if it understood the danger Marcus had just avoided. Marcus paused for only a moment, taking a shallow breath. He knew they couldn't stop. If the quarantine teams found them, the child would be taken or worse, destroyed. I have to keep it alive. I have to keep it safe. He moved again, slower now, carefully listening for movement behind him. The walls of the tunnel felt tighter here, and the hum of energy symbols beneath his feet grew stronger, pulsing like a heartbeat in sync with the child's glow. They entered a wider chamber filled with alien machinery. Long tubes ran along the ceiling, connected to devices Marcus didn't recognize. The floor was slick, coated with something luminescent that reflected the child's light. Marcus glanced at the monitors, his heart skipping a beat. Strange readings spiked as the child moved closer. Its bioenergy seemed to influence everything around it. Marcus stepped carefully between the tubes, trying not to trip. The child whimpered faintly, shivering against his chest. He whispered, "It's okay. We're okay. Just a little further." The sound of alien voices grew closer. Marcus realized the quarantine teams were converging, cutting off their path. He had to make a decision. Forward meant unknown danger, but going back would almost certainly mean capture. A low growl echoed from the far end of the chamber. Marcus froze. The shadows shifted, revealing a massive alien creature, pale and gaunt, its limbs long and spindly. Its eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, fixed on them. The child's glow flared, and the creature recoiled as if stung. Marcus felt his pulse spike. This wasn't just a guard, it was something else entirely, something alive and intelligent. The creature stepped forward, cautious but curious. Marcus tightened his grip on the child and slowly moved to the side, trying not to provoke it. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but he couldn't leave the child. The alien hissed, a sound that made his skin crawl, but it didn't attack. Instead, it lingered, watching, almost studying them. Marcus realized the child's glow was affecting the creature, calming it, or at least holding it at bay. He whispered softly, "It's okay. You're safe with me." The child's glow pulsed in response, brighter than ever. The creature twitched, then retreated into the shadows, disappearing from sight. Marcus exhaled slowly, relief mingling with fear. That had been close. But there was no time to dwell. The alarms continued, louder than ever. Marcus scanned the room, spotting a narrow service corridor at the far side. He hurried toward it, the child clinging tightly to him, its tiny body trembling. Every step he took seemed amplified by the child's glow, reflecting off the walls and shifting patterns that looked almost like messages he couldn't read. As they moved through the corridor, Marcus's mind raced. The child wasn't just sick. Its bioenergy was extraordinary, affecting the environment, machines, even creatures. And if others realized what it could do? Marcus shivered at the thought. Powerful factions, maybe even beyond this hospital, could come for it. A sudden crash behind them made him spin. Alien security officers had blocked the corridor. Marcus froze, calculating. He couldn't fight them, he had no chance. But the child's glow pulsed rapidly, brighter than before. He felt warmth radiating from it, almost like a protective shield. Marcus took a deep breath. He had an idea, risky but possibly their only way out. He crouched, whispered to the child, "I need you to trust me. Just for a second." The child chirped softly and Marcus stepped forward. The officers hesitated as the light from the child flared, reflecting off the metal walls. Their scanners went haywire, lights flickering and alarms stuttering. Marcus seized the moment, darting past them, the child clinging tightly, weaving through the maze-like corridors. Once clear of the officers, Marcus ducked into a shadowed maintenance hatch. He pressed himself against the wall, breathing hard, listening. Silence. The alarms faded into the distance, though distant shouts told him the chase wasn't over. He looked down at the child. Its glow had dimmed slightly, but its small hand curled around his finger, trusting, leaning into him. A small, victorious smile touched Marcus's lips. We survived this far. That's something. But even as he held the child, a new thought crawled into his mind. This child is extraordinary. More than anyone can understand. And if we're not careful, someone even more dangerous will come for it. The walls ahead were dark, the tunnel twisting into unknown territory. Marcus tightened his grip on the child, whispering, "We keep moving. We survive together." The child chirped in response, a fragile sound of hope. From the shadows, a faint rumble echoed, a deep, low vibration unlike anything Marcus had heard before. The symbols on the walls began to flare violently in sync with the child's pulse. Marcus's stomach twisted. Whatever waited ahead was bigger, faster, and smarter than the officers they had escaped. He tightened his grip, set his jaw, and whispered, "We're not safe yet. But we're not giving up." The rumble grew louder. And then from the darkness ahead, two glowing eyes appeared, staring straight at them. Marcus froze, his heart hammering in his chest as the two glowing eyes locked onto him. The tunnel ahead was dark, but the light from the child shimmered against the walls, casting shifting shadows that seemed alive. The creature, or whatever it was, stood motionless for a moment, then tilted its head, studying them. Its form was massive, spindly, almost skeletal, but the way it moved was deliberate, intelligent. Marcus felt a jolt of fear mixed with awe. The child stirred in his arms, pulsing a brighter glow. It chirped softly, a sound that made Marcus's chest tighten. Somehow the creature responded to the light, stepping back slightly. Marcus realized the child's bioenergy wasn't just affecting machines or symbols, it was influencing living things. But why? And how far did it reach? Marcus's mind raced. He needed a plan, something quick. He couldn't run blindly. The corridor ended in a sealed bulkhead, and behind them alien officers were still closing in. Thinking fast, he crouched low, shifting the child in his arms so it could face the creature. "Listen," he whispered, "we're not here to hurt you. Just let us pass." The creature emitted a low, resonant hum, like a voice without words. Marcus's pulse quickened. He didn't understand the sound, but it felt almost communicative. Encouraged, he took a slow step forward. The creature mirrored him, moving cautiously as if testing his intent. Then the child's glow surged suddenly, intense enough to light the entire tunnel. The creature froze, then emitted a sharp, piercing cry that vibrated in Marcus's chest. The sound made the alien officers pause, confusion rippling through them. Marcus realized this was their chance. He ducked low, hugging the child tight, and ran toward a narrow side hatch he had spotted earlier. The creature hesitated, then followed at a distance, keeping pace but not attacking. Inside the hatch, Marcus pressed himself against the wall, trying to catch his breath. The child's glow had dimmed slightly, its tiny body trembling. He whispered softly, "You're okay? I've got you." The child let out a small chirp, curling its fragile limbs around his finger. For a moment, relief washed over him. They had survived the immediate threat. But Marcus knew better than to relax. The creature outside wasn't just guarding the tunnel, it was watching, learning, maybe even tracking. And the alien officers, they were relentless. He needed more information, something to give him an edge. Marcus scanned the walls. Symbols and faint markings pulsed with the child's glow. He reached out, touching one cautiously. It hummed under his fingers, a vibration that ran through his arm. He realized the symbols weren't just decoration, they were some kind of interactive system, reacting to the child's energy. Perhaps it was a map or a control mechanism. If he could understand it, maybe he could manipulate the environment to their advantage. He murmured to the child, "We might be able to use this, help us get through." The child chirped again, light pulsing in response. Marcus felt a surge of hope. If he could decode these markings, he could turn the hospital itself into a tool, a shield against the forces pursuing them. As he traced the symbols along the wall, a holographic panel flickered to life above him. Images of the child appeared, showing its bioenergy interacting with various machinery, shutting down systems, powering lights, even affecting alien drones. Marcus's jaw tightened. This child wasn't just fragile and sick, it was extraordinary. A living key capable of things no one else could do. A sudden vibration ran through the hatch floor. The creature's heavy footsteps echoed close behind, and Marcus's heart skipped a beat. It wasn't just following, they were being herded. He glanced down the tunnel. Alien officers were closing in faster than before, weapons raised, scanners glowing. The child whimpered, sensing the tension. Marcus made a split-second decision. He pressed a symbol on the wall with the child's energy pulsing against it. Lights flared along the corridor, panels sliding open to create a maze of shifting walls. The alien officers shouted in confusion, their scanners failing as doors closed and opened unpredictably. The creature hissed, caught in the shifting walls. Marcus took advantage of the chaos, moving quickly, stepping over cables and debris. The child clung to him, eyes wide but trusting. Marcus's pulse raced, not just from the running but from understanding the truth. The child could save them, protect them, but only if he kept its trust and guided its power carefully. One wrong move and the bioenergy could harm them, or worse, alert enemies who might exploit it. They rounded a corner and entered a wider chamber, a room filled with dormant machinery. Marcus spotted what looked like a small power console at the far end. He hurried there, crouching with the child. The console hummed faintly, responding to the child's glow. He placed the child near it gently, whispering, "Try this, see if you can help us." The child's glow surged, lights on the console flickered, and panels slid open to reveal an escape route. Marcus felt a flicker of triumph. A tiny payoff, progress against impossible odds. But just as he reached to lift the child again, the shadow in the doorway moved. Not the creature this time, it was the alien scientist from before, eyes glowing with anger. "You have no idea what you're holding," the scientist hissed. "And now it's too late to stop me." Marcus froze, clutching the child. The escape route was open, but if the scientist attacked, they might not get out alive. The child's glow pulsed violently, responding to the threat, filling the room with blinding light. Marcus whispered fiercely, "We survive together. Whatever happens, we don't give up." The scientist's silhouette shimmered in the glow, and the room quaked as systems reacted to the child's energy. Marcus knew this was just the beginning of something far bigger, something beyond the hospital walls. And in that moment, the child let out a sound, a small human-like laugh, soft but defiant. The scientist froze. Marcus gritted his teeth. He had no weapons, no backup. Just a janitor's courage, and a child whose power no one fully understood. From the flickering shadows, the scientist stepped closer, eyes locked on the glowing child, and whispered, "You have no idea what you've unleashed." Marcus tightened his grip, heart pounding. Whatever came next, they couldn't stop now. Marcus's heart pounded as the alien scientist advanced, the child's glow pulsing fiercely in his arms. The lab around them hummed with dormant machinery coming to life, responding to the child's energy in unpredictable ways. Sparks flew from overhead conduits, and the air smelled of ozone. Marcus had no weapons, no plan, and no backup, only his own wits, sheer courage, and the fragile creature in his arms. The scientist's eyes gleamed with malice. "Do you realize what this child is?" he hissed, voice echoing through the chamber. "Its bioenergy can destroy worlds or heal them. And in your hands it's uncontrolled." Marcus swallowed hard, but he didn't falter. He held the child close, feeling its tiny heartbeat against his chest, steady and trusting. "I don't care what it can do," he said firmly. "I'll protect it. That's all that matters." The scientist lunged, moving faster than Marcus expected. He ducked instinctively, rolling behind a console, child still clutched tight. Sparks flew as the scientist slammed a baton against the metal, sending it clanging across the floor. Marcus's pulse raced. The child whimpered, its glow brightening in response to the danger. Then, without warning, the child emitted a blinding pulse of light, filling the lab with pure energy. The scientist staggered, shielding his eyes, and the machinery around them shuddered violently. Panels slid open and closed, doors jammed, and monitors flickered in chaotic sequences. Marcus realized the child's power wasn't just defensive. It could manipulate the environment, disable technology, even repel enemies. "Hold on," Marcus whispered to the child, moving toward a narrow ventilation shaft at the far end. The glow pulsed in sync with his heartbeat, guiding him. Every step was tense. Every echo of footsteps made his stomach twist. The scientist recovered, furious, and fired a small energy pulse toward them. Marcus barely ducked in time. The shot ricocheted off a wall and sparked near a conduit. Marcus's mind raced. They had to move, and fast. He scanned the room and spotted an overhead cable system, a tangle of support lines that could be climbed. It was risky, unstable, but it offered a vertical escape. "We climb," he whispered and carefully hoisted the child onto his shoulder. The glow from the child illuminated the cables, casting their shadows on the walls in dancing, flickering patterns. As Marcus began climbing, the child's light brightened even more. The energy pulsed through the cables, causing some to hum and shake, but they held. Behind him, the scientist shouted, striking at anything within reach. Sparks and debris rained down. Marcus's muscles burned as he hauled himself higher, keeping the child secure. He felt the thrill of fear sharpen every sense, every calculation. At the top, a narrow maintenance catwalk stretched across the chamber, leading to a service door marked with a faint symbol that pulsed faintly under the child's light. Marcus edged along the catwalk, child in his arms, feeling the hum of the energy coursing beneath them. The lab below had become a trap for their enemies. The creature from the earlier tunnel appeared in the shadows, massive eyes reflecting the child's glow. It didn't attack, instead it moved to block the scientist's path. Marcus realized the child's influence was more profound than he'd imagined. Halfway across the catwalk, a panel gave way beneath his foot. Marcus lost balance for a split second. The child squeaked, light flaring brightly. Marcus's arms tightened, holding the child close, and he swung himself back onto solid metal. Sparks flew from the broken panel below. He exhaled shakily, whispering, "It's okay, you're okay. We're almost there." The child's glow brightened, illuminating the far door. Marcus pressed forward, muscles screaming with effort. The scientist roared from below, furious, and the catwalk trembled. Panels above them shook, threatening to collapse. Marcus gritted his teeth and pressed on, knowing one misstep would mean disaster. At the door, Marcus saw the control panel respond to the child's light. Carefully, he set the child on the platform and pressed the symbols in sequence, letting the bioenergy interact with the machinery. With a loud hiss, the door slid open. A narrow shaft of safety appeared. Marcus scooped the child back into his arms, and they dashed through the doorway just as a section of the lab ceiling collapsed behind them. They dropped into a dim corridor beyond the lab. Marcus paused, listening. The hum of machinery and the shouting of alien officers faded behind them. He looked down at the child, whose glow was now softer, pulsing gently against his chest. "We made it this far," he whispered. "And we're still alive." The child let out a soft chirp, a sound almost like laughter. Marcus smiled, feeling a surge of relief and pride. Despite being just a janitor with no training, no weapons, he had guided them through impossible odds, relied on courage, ingenuity, and compassion, and protected something extraordinary. But the sense of relief was brief. A faint vibration ran through the floor, subtle but undeniable. Marcus looked ahead and saw shadows moving at the edge of the corridor, faster than any security team could move. Something else was coming. Something alive, intelligent, and clearly drawn to the child. Marcus's chest tightened, but he set his jaw. "We keep moving," he whispered. The child nestled against him, light pulsing gently, almost as if it understood the stakes. They moved forward cautiously, step by step, toward whatever awaited them. And then around the corner, a flicker of metal and light revealed the next obstacle, a massive locked service hatch. Symbols glowed faintly on its surface, pulsing in response to the child's energy. Marcus knew in his gut that the hatch wasn't just a door, it was a test, and the next challenge would push them harder than anything yet. He tightened his grip on the child. "We can do this," he whispered. "Together." The hatch shuddered, responding to the child's energy. And from behind, the faint hum of pursuing forces grew louder, closer, relentless. Marcus inhaled sharply, knowing the climax of their escape, and the next unimaginable danger was just ahead. Marcus's hands shook slightly as he pressed the child closer against his chest. The service hatch loomed ahead, massive and metallic, covered in glowing symbols that pulsed in rhythm with the child's light. Every instinct screamed that this was the final barrier between them and freedom, but also a trap. The faint hum of alien footsteps echoed behind them, mixed with the distant clanging of machinery Marcus had set in motion. They were not safe yet. He knelt before the hatch, placing the child gently on a ledge. "It's okay," he whispered. "Just help me open this." The child's glow intensified in response, bathing the metal surface in shifting colors. Marcus pressed his hands against the symbols, letting the child's energy pulse through his fingers. The hatch shuddered, lights flickering, until a loud hiss signaled it beginning to slide open. The corridor beyond was dark and narrow, a stark contrast to the chaos behind them. Marcus climbed carefully, keeping the child safe in his arms. Each step was deliberate. The walls seemed to hum faintly in response to the child's glow. He realized the symbols on the hatch had been more than a lock. They were a test of trust, requiring the child's energy to unlock safely. Without it, they would have been trapped. A sudden metallic clatter behind them made Marcus spin. The alien scientist from the lab appeared, furious, sprinting toward them. "Stop!" he shouted, voice echoing, filled with panic and rage. "You don't understand what you hold." Marcus swallowed hard. He had no weapon, no backup, no chance of a conventional fight. Only courage and quick thinking. He pressed the child to his chest and ran, turning a sharp corner. The child's glow flared in response, illuminating symbols etched along the walls. Marcus realized the hall itself could be manipulated by the child's energy. He concentrated, guiding the pulses carefully. The lights along the corridor flickered, panels shifted, and doors slid closed behind them, blocking the scientist's path temporarily. The child made a small chirp, a faint laugh almost, and Marcus felt a surge of hope. For a fragile moment, the danger seemed less pressing. Then a distant rumble made the walls shake. The creature from earlier, the massive, spindly one, emerged at the far end of the corridor, its glowing eyes fixed on them. It was not hostile this time but intelligent, watching, curious. Marcus realized the child's bioenergy had a calming effect even on the most dangerous beings. They reached the end of the corridor, where a narrow shaft led upward toward an emergency lift. Marcus carefully placed the child on a small platform, pressing a sequence of symbols that pulsed in tune with the child's light. The lift responded, the doors sliding open slowly. As they stepped inside, Marcus felt a brief, triumphant relief, the first in hours. But the relief was short-lived. From above, a shadow moved across the lift shaft. Alien drones, drawn by residual energy signatures, hovered at the entrance. Marcus's pulse quickened. He had to act fast. He placed the child on the lift floor and whispered, "Now." The child pulsed with intense energy, and the drone's sensors scrambled, lights flickering as the machines lost focus. The lift doors closed just in time, carrying them upward toward a dimly lit maintenance deck. Marcus pressed the child against his chest again. "Almost there," he whispered. The corridors above were quieter, abandoned, but the sense of danger lingered. He knew this escape wouldn't mean safety for long. The child's energy might protect them temporarily, but stronger forces, more powerful than they had faced yet, would come looking for it. They emerged onto an open platform overlooking the spaceport. Docking ships gleamed under harsh artificial lights. Marcus scanned quickly, spotting a small maintenance vessel partially concealed behind a larger freighter. Would have to do. He ran toward it, child clinging tightly. The ship's door hissed as he pressed the release, the child's glow pulsing in rhythm with the lift of the hatch. Inside the vessel, Marcus collapsed into the pilot's seat, keeping the child on his lap. He caught his breath, sweat streaking his face. The child chirped softly, curling against him, light dimming to a gentle glow. Marcus smiled, heart heavy but relieved. "We made it, for now," he whispered. Outside, the alien scientist and remaining forces gathered near the spaceport entrance, scanning, searching, but unable to breach the vessel in time. Marcus keyed the controls, engines humming as he guided the ship into the shadows of the docking bay. He glanced at the child, fragile yet powerful, and realized the full weight of what they carried. This was no ordinary being, it could change the course of entire worlds. The child's eyes met his, silver and luminous, and Marcus felt a strange connection. He had protected it against impossible odds, relied on courage, ingenuity, and empathy. In return, the child's presence had guided him, given him strength and perhaps, a glimpse of the extraordinary potential of humanity when it dared to act with compassion. As the ship lifted off the platform, lights of the spaceport shrinking below, Marcus knew this was not the end. Somewhere out there, stronger, more dangerous forces would pursue them, drawn by the child's bioenergy. He tightened his grip, whispering fiercely, "We'll face them together. Whatever comes, we survive." A faint ripple of energy radiated from the child, brighter now, scanning the stars beyond. Marcus realized that this small, fragile creature held secrets and power far beyond comprehension. And in its trust, he saw the spark of hope, the proof that courage, empathy, and determination could defy fear, overcome odds, and shine in a galaxy that often seemed indifferent. The vessel hummed steadily as it slipped into the shadows of a nearby asteroid field. Marcus looked down at the child, who chirped softly again, tiny hands curling around his finger. For the first time in hours, Marcus allowed himself a full breath. They were alive. Safe for now. But as the stars stretched endlessly before them, a flicker of light on the horizon caught his attention. A fleet of unknown ships, silent and vast, glided toward them. Marcus's jaw tightened. This was bigger than the hospital, bigger than the scientist. They were being drawn into something far larger, far more dangerous. He whispered to the child, "Whatever happens, we face it together." The child's glow pulsed softly as if understanding. And somewhere in the darkness of space, a shadow moved among the fleet, eyes glinting, waiting. The journey had only just begun. The adventure, and the danger, was far from over.